All right, let's get started with our second session on going from couch potato to 5K and maximizing those results. And today, it's all about the core. So let's jump right into it. We're continuing this series with some more great questions from the women of the Tri-Cities Women's Athletic Club. And they're revolving around the core and the abs, and specifically some directly related to mom-related issues and going through pregnancy and what that does to a woman's core, as well as just life and moving into a non-active environment and what begins to happen to our core. So let's get right into those questions. The first question is coming from Andrea, I'm not sure, so please forgive me. And she writes, sometimes when I cough or strain, I can feel what I think is the beginning of an abdominal hernia. I've worked in an office for the last 11 years, and my core muscles are shot from sitting at a desk. What is a good way to start to rebuild my core muscles so I don't have to have surgery? Are there any specific moves I can do? Any specific moves I need to avoid? The second question comes from Denise. I had my second C-section at the age of 40. I am pretty sure I am suffering from diastasis recti. What is the most effective way to restore my stomach muscles? And do you think that the following program would be worth the money? All right, so let's jump into talking about what makes up a good core program when it comes to creating a supplemental program to help us maximize this couch potato to 5K effort. The first thing to remember is that when it comes to the core programming of whatever program you want to do, is that it follows the same principles that we talked about in the last session, and that is workload, progressive overload, and rest and recovery. Whatever core training, whatever core program you choose to follow, whether it's one that's specific to your specific needs and trying to work around your specific injuries or to help recover from specific injuries, make sure that it's following the same program that your couch potato, the same principles that your couch potato program is following. Is your workload starting off, is it reasonable? Is the volume and the intensity reasonable of what they're asking you to do? Is it progressively getting you stronger over time? And finally, is there built in some rest and recovery? If it's following those three things, and you can perform each exercise safely and you feel comfortable doing it, then by all means, give it a try and see how it fits into that program, because there's lots of them out there. I get questions all the time about this app and that app and this program and that program, and it all comes back to those three principles. Are they following those three principles? If they are, give it a try. More importantly, I want you to begin to recognize and understand that your core is more than your abs. It's more than that six-pack, your rectus abdominis that you see in front. Your core is really everything between your hips and your rib cage. Your core's job is not to look good in a bathing suit. Your core's job is to stabilize your pelvis in movement, in activity. And so that's why sitting in the office kills your core, because you never really have to use it correctly. And you get certain muscles shortening and other muscles tightening, so that when you stand up and start moving around, your body's going, what are you doing? We never do this, okay? So what are some other muscles besides your rectus abdominis that you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about training core? You've got to think about your butt, your gluteus maximus, and I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but you actually have 6 butts. You got a gluteus maximus on each side. Then you got a minimus and a medius right next to that. So there's a total of 3 butts going across that hip, along with a TFL and your QL and a whole bunch of your hip flexor, your psoas and your iliacus, all of these different muscles that are playing in your pelvis, let alone all the little muscles of the rotator of the hips. Okay? You've got dozens of muscles on both sides that are doing one job, and that is to try to figure out a way to stabilize your pelvis. And what causes a lot of back pain and a lot of core issues is that those muscles stop working as a unit. And you begin to have muscles that become dominant. And particularly when it comes to low back pain and low issues, is that psoas muscle that starts off on your hip and it comes up and wraps around and attaches to your low back, starts to get tight and pulls on that low back and creates discomfort. So when you're thinking about core, we want to think about activating, relaxing, activating, and strengthening all of those muscles that are involved in stabilizing our hips and our pelvis. So what I've done for you ladies is I've opened up what I normally reserve for my private training one-on-one clients, a series of videos that I put together that it's really a base level programming for people who have created dysfunction in their low back and hips and need to start to open up and strengthen that whole low back, that core issue. And it goes through 3 phases. And basically the first thing it is it helps to relax the back, the hips, and the core, all of the core muscles. Then what we go through is we set a foundation of beginning to learn how to move those muscles again and activate. And then there's a slow, small strengthening portion of that. Now, I'm not going to put any strengthening and talk about strengthening right now, simply because for most people, the relaxing and activating is where they need to begin. And if you jump right into the strengthening, then you don't accelerate quite as quickly as you need to, because you're jumping ahead of where your body is really at that time. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to, if you're watching this on YouTube, to look at the description below, and I'm going to have some links to a series of exercises that are meant to relax the back, activate the core musculature, not only with some pelvic tilting and some bridging, but also a few other isometric type exercises that help to get the hips loose. And once you've really mastered those, then your body's going to be ready to jump into whatever abs or core training that you need to get into, okay? And as long as that program is following a smart workload, progressive overload, and rest and recovery, you should be fine. But most important to you, if you're getting ready to do that couch potato to 5K program, this is a great way to help to get your low back and hips relaxed and recovered in between your bouts of running. So we're really killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We're getting that core, beginning to get that core strengthened and activated, and we're getting that low back and those hips relaxed and recovered in between runs, so you can go out and have a great training day on your next couch potato run. So I'm going to encourage you to go check out those videos, go through those for a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks, see where they are, and then look to start strengthening your abdominals with some more intense activities like a variety of planks, and the number of exercises out there go on, and I'll leave that up to you.